Chiefs and Force, folks. Super Rugby, 56 points to 22. That's a big old second half from the Chiefs to take the game away from the Force at the Bay Oval on Anzac Day here in NZ. So a special day for Aussies and Kiwis. Kind of moment of silence to start the game. It's fitting to see so many Aussie and Kiwi clashes this weekend. Good crowd, sold out Bay Oval, which is fantastic to see for the game. Pretty windy weather, but the question was, how would the Force go on the road? Because remember, the Force are a bit of a surprise package in some regards this season, sitting in the playoff spots, but 2-week tour of New Zealand. First up, the Chiefs. How would they go? Well, yeah, competitive first half and then kind of blown away in the second, I think it's probably fair to say. Bit of Harry Potter magic, gets a couple of tries. That guy still has some skills and is undoubtedly very sick of that joke. And Wallace Satiti back in action a bit earlier than expected, and he looked fit and raring to go. Reshuffled backline for the Chiefs, but doesn't stop them from scoring a whole bunch of tries. We'll go through them pretty quick. You guys can let us know your thoughts. It started pretty fast for the Chiefs, man. Straight from the kickoff, the Force conceded a penalty, which the Chiefs then slotted to make it 3-0. But issue with the first half for the Chiefs, and I know the conditions were not great. The line-out was struggling, and their discipline at times was a little bit of an issue. They had line-out issues pretty much from their first line-out, then got stolen. Then they had another one stolen not too long later, 5 meters out from their own line. Darcy Swain, who Chiefs fans will not be a big fan of, given the incident a few years ago with him and Quinn Tupaia. But Darcy Swain gets the line-out steal, 5 meters out from Chiefs' line, stick it through the hands. Kunzel is able to go over. So a great reply to the Chiefs' initial penalty score. 7 points to 3. The Force are in front, but the Chiefs, despite the messy line-out, are still able to hit back. They, with messy line-out, still retain the ball, which is the most important part. And then Stevenson puts in a nicely weighted dinking kick for Emoni Narawa, who shows some real gas, and he is able to go over for the Chiefs' first try, so 10 points to 7. The lead changes once again, so Chiefs in front, Force in front. Now it's back to the Chiefs, but they were kind of caught napping. Harry Potter with the miracle try. Is it a miracle or is it just quick thinking? Don't know if they identified something with the Chiefs, or is it just that teams are generally not expecting the very, very quick restart, because we're still sitting there watching the replay of the magnificent Narawa try. Donaldson just runs the ball back to the halfway line, puts a kick through, which Potter is able to chase and gather for a try. So before the replay of the other try is even bloody finished, Potter's gone ahead and scored. It is a bonkers play. Puts the Force back in front, so it's another lead change, 12 points to 10. And then I feel like the Force had a chance to really put the game ahead. The Chiefs were getting pinged by the ref. The discipline was becoming a little bit of an issue. Force had two key chances, attacking phase down the Chiefs' end, which they ended up knocking on. And then another Chiefs penalty. They took the shot at goal and missed it. So two key chances for the Force to extend their 12-10 lead out. Didn't take him, and then they were bitten with the discipline thing their own end. Seo Tompkinson, who would have thought that guy would get himself into trouble? He does have a little bit of reputation for it. Gets his hit all wrong on Josh Jacob, who's catching a high ball. Clocks him in the head with his shoulder, but Jacob was dipping as he kind of caught the high ball. So there was a late or last minute change of height, which meant that the off-field review said that the yellow card would remain yellow. I assumed it was going to be yellow because even if you know he's going to drop when he's catching a high ball, because everyone, when they catch a high ball, has a little bit of a dip, it might be a little bit too much for someone to predict the dip in terms of that kind of onus on the tackler. So it's a pretty bad hit. He doesn't go off for an HIA though, which is always a bizarre one. Me as a layman, seeing a guy get clocked in the head, a guy get sent off for it, either a yellow or red, and then the guy just, well, you can keep playing. But I am not a doctor. It just seems bizarre. But yeah, that I feel like I have the Force, two great chances, miss them both, and then Thompson goes off for a yellow, and the Chiefs immediately punish them. Again, the lineout's bloody messy, so it's not great. But it's not knocked on from Ratzimo at the base of that thing. There's a ball coming off the shins. And then you get Norris through to Tokiaho, so it's a front rowers setup and a front rowers finish. 15 points to 12, and now the Chiefs back in front. That's 5 points scored during the yellow card. At the end of the yellow card, the Force did manage to slot a three-pointer. Jacobson got pinged at the breakdown, so the Chiefs didn't make the most of the yellow card period, to be fair. The Force saw out the rest of it okay. But, yeah, they'll still be gutted to have conceded the thing in the first place. So we get things all tied up, 15 points apiece. Chiefs take the lead again with the penalties, 18-15. And then there's the most bizarring? That's not a word. Bizarre refereeing TMO interaction that I've seen for a wee while. Like, I watch a fair few games, and the Chiefs almost had a try through Kalen Boshier. And the TMO rules real time in the ref's ear. No, he's lost it forward over the line. So play goes on, Force hoof it down the field. We get a line out set up. They keep playing. And then they stop because one of the Force guys goes down. And the referee is explaining it to the captains as to what's going on, how he's lost it forward. So they decide, well, let me just have a look at it while we're waiting for the stoppage. If the Force don't go down for the stoppage here, this try probably doesn't get awarded. But they then make that, let's just explain it to the captains thing, a formal review. And then the TMO has to kind of take back his decision, which he's pretty confident about, because Boshier's kind of got it in one hand and then seems to maybe lose it, or maybe it's just enough in contact to transition to the other hand to go over for the try. Like, one angle looked a lot, like, just first reaction was that's a try. The more you slow it down, the kind of less it looks like a try. If it's club rugby, it's a try all day long, which is usually the way I go with it. If it's that close, just award the thing. But the TMO had to say through gritted teeth the words, yeah, you could say that there isn't, when asked about is there separation or not. So the TMO did not want to award that try, but the ref overrules him. So despite the fact that we've played on, stopped for an injury, had a big old discussion, and then it's become a review, the try does get given. It's weird. 25-15. Like I said, if there's no stop for an injury break, I don't think there's time for that level of review, and the game would move on. Halftime stats, the Chiefs have had 5 clean breaks to 2. They've conceded 5 penalties to 4. They've had 261 run meters to 121. The lineouts 4 from 6, and the ones they've been winning have not been clean. The Force have also lost a couple, but they're 9 from 11. It's still close enough at halftime to still be a game. It's a 10-pointer, but in all likelihood, the Chiefs are going to run away with it in the second. And indeed, they do. You get Norris getting one at the start of the second half. And again, it's a Force mistake, not finding touch when they'd won a penalty. Gets punished. Ratsima, big line break. Norris is the guy who's able to finish it off. 32-15. It's looking like it could be becoming a bit of a rout when you get an inside ball to Boshier, who pops it to Ratsima, and it becomes 37-15. Later on, you get Narawa with a kick that goes dead, and it's like the Force have to bloody score here, or it is even more dead and buried than it is right now. And they did get it, to be fair. Potter got his second with a little dink and think kick through from Robertson. Great skills from Potter, man. The footwork to dink it after it had already been dinked through for him and to regather it was proper skill set. That guy's a pretty good player. So 37-22. Still quite far behind. That's the final scoring for the Force, and the Chiefs were certainly not done. The comeback didn't last long. Scrum for the Chiefs. Set play sees Stevenson with the line break and Ratsima get his try, and they've had to start reshuffling the backline at this point with some injuries. 44-22. There's a bit of handbags that the Chiefs are just turning the screws, especially scrum time. Load of penalties conceded for the Force. Eventually, the scrum sees Jacobson get a try, so 49-22. More Chiefs pressure. Great hands. Rona gets one, 49-22, and then 56-22. And then it looks like the Force have maybe got the final try of the game, which would have just been a consolation try through Pullman. It would have been a great finish again. First phase line-out play. Wide ball and, Kuhnzell to Greeley, but there's a foot just in the touch from Pullman, which is a pity because it would have been a hell of a try. TMO rules that one out. So, yeah, the Force, the question about how could they live with the Chiefs in New Zealand, well, the answer is for the first half. For the first half. A lot of teams have been with the Chiefs in this season for the first half, but it's hard with the second. Individuals, Jacobson beat 5 defenders. Satiti came off the bench and made a big break, 47 metres from him. Tizano for the Force had 18 tackles. He's still a bit of a machine. Boshia made 12, plus got himself on the board. But like I said, the way that was ruled was bizarre. Run meters 595 to 270, dominant from the Chiefs. Clean breaks 13-5, dominant from the Chiefs. Turnovers conceded 19 to 11. So the Force coughing up way too much ball. At times, the only, thing that was costing them was themselves. I mean, the Chiefs are bloody good, but you can't be making mistakes like that. And they couldn't get their maul going. They weren't given a chance. The Force have got a good maul. They only, I think, won maul the entire game. So, yeah. They've got the Blues next. See if they can get some points from their tour of New Zealand. The Chiefs will be away to the Canes. We'll see how things go. It's a pretty emphatic win. On Anzac Day, you guys let us know your thoughts. I'm off to watch another Anzac game between the Reds and my Blues. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.